Listen. Short story long.
Welcome.
It could take your whole life.
Preach.
Develop clarity.
Second, patience.
If it scared you, you should probably do it.
Whatever you think you don't have, you have something else in its place.
Listen. Short story long.
Go, Woody, go.
Preach.
Listen.
Welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chase Hero.
Yeah.
How's that intro?
That was good. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, from zero to hero.
There you go. So, Chase, we met at the Reckless event that I did, the Reckless Build Your Empire thing, and you're friends with Casey Adams, who's a good friend of ours, and him and I kind of co-curated the panels and the Q&As and all that stuff, and you were one of the people that he invited. I obviously just trust him, but he was like, trust me, this dude's going to crush it. So we got up, and you ended up being on a panel that I moderated.
Yep.
And it was you, D, Josh Snow, and someone else, I'm forgetting. But you just crushed it, right? Like
Thank
the
you.
moment we were up there. And it's not only that you gave such good input, but there's something about the way that it was very like real and raw and sort of like, listen, dudes, like it felt like your homie up there being like, come on, man,
Yep.
like let's get it together. So obviously the moment we were literally sitting in that panel, I'm like, gosh, how have we not done a podcast yet? So we finally made it happen. Here we are. I'm so excited. I purposely kept my own suspense. So I didn't look up much of your story. I want to sit here and have a very real conversation, find out who you are with everyone else, and get some inspiration.
I fucking love it.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, man. And obviously since then, I followed you on social media. You're really good on there. I'm seeing Rolls Royces and campers and dirt bikes and families, and
Yep.
you're just crushing it, man.
Going through
So-
that like 34-year-old midlife crisis,
Yeah.
trying to place where to put money. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah. I like that.
What I get the most output from.
Yeah.
And it's
And
growing.
you know what you're a good example of is a guy who has a full family
Yep.
and still seems to be having a lot of fun.
Yep.
You know, and you have like, you're going out and having movie night in your new RV that's like, you know, wrapped in babe camo. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you're doing a good blend of like, oh yeah, you could have kids and have a family and still have a really good time.
Absolutely. I think just society's jaded us a bit on what is real. And like everyone's story is a bit different. So find what makes you happy and just kind of push through. And
Yeah.
for me, making my kids smile. And like, you got to find the things that make you happy as well as them.
Yep.
Otherwise, you just don't do them.
Yep. Big time.
It works.
Okay, so let's go all the way to the beginning, man. Where are you from? Where were you born and raised?
Yep.
What was early childhood like? Paint that picture for me of young Chase.
Crazy. So born in the Midwest, raised really poor.
Where at? What?
Madison, Wisconsin. I actually was born in Jefferson, Wisconsin.
Yep.
Moved to Sun Prairie. This little tiny, sounds just like the name Sun Prairie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Lived there. Watched my parents kind of battle back and forth. Learned a lot from my mother about like dealing with challenges, and learned about hard work from my father.
Yep.
Unfortunately, I learned about all the negatives too.
Yeah.
Grew up real poor, lots of blankets, lots of no heat nights, and didn't like it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And, from the jump, I was, to be real, a little fucked up. You go through that type of stuff, like the mud's dirt. It makes you different. And so I got in a lot of trouble as a kid. I was always trying to find ways to kind of like let my emotion out.
Yeah.
And
What type of stuff? Fighting or?
more so like fighting, but like doing hustles, like in school as a kid. I would steal textbooks from the bus that would come out and try to sell them back to my school.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
and they're
good.
like, "What the fuck are you doing, guy? Like, we just saw you do that." But always knew that there was something there. I just felt off. Did good in school,
Yep.
and then started to go down a bad hill.
Yep.
Parents got real worried. And at that time, I literally got into selling drugs, like straight up.
Is that high school or
that
what?
was middle school.
Wow.
So young,
Yep.
ruthless. Start off selling kids weed and stuff.
Yep.
Not really understanding what life was. Got all these pictures painted from what I thought was cool because I grew up in a crappy town, and like the kids who were cool had that like S10 truck.
Yeah, of course.
And what were they doing?
Oh, of course. My boy had a 94 Ford Explorer
Yep.
with rims, and I was like, if I could ever get one of those,
Yep.
I will. Life's over.
Yep.
So I get it.
Yeah, and you're a creature to your environment. You know, like there is no excuse. It's like, you know, as you grow up, you need to realize that shit and like really notice it. But as a kid, man, you become so malleable to what you think is around you, and like that's all you know. Like people ask me if I thought I'd be here when I was young.
Yeah.
I'm like, have you lost your mind?
Yeah.
Are you
chance.
kidding me?
Yeah.
Like I couldn't even imagine this, because you like imagine the wall of your town and like the craziest destinations, like the next town over.
Yeah. That's what's so crazy to me, because I'm from small town in Ohio, and I guess in the journey to help build people up that were like me growing up, it's like I don't even know how to open someone's mind to what they are capable of. Because like I said, truly, my dream was to have a 94 Ford Explorer on 22-inch rims. And my friend took them off in the winter because he couldn't afford the salt damage.
Yep.
You know, and so when summer was back, it was like, damn, the rims are back out.
Yeah.
And then literally when I moved to LA, my dream of dreams was to work at a skate shop and live in a studio apartment. That was my dream.
Yep.
And there is something to, I guess, people like us both have sort of just pushed to the next thing. But I think that there's a lot of self-destructive behavior that people never get out of. Let's just say you get too deep into doing drugs, or you do something where you go to jail for 10 years or whatever. Now you never get a chance to find out what you were capable of. But I just wonder how could you open people's mind to the fact that they are capable of what you did?
Yep.
You know what I mean?
You know, and honestly, I believe social media, as crazy and as diluted as it can be a phenomenal opening up to what the human being, not just what one person, but what human beings are capable of. Because you get to look into people's lives. Listen, distorted or not, you can tell a difference in how people are living straight up by what they picture, what they're putting up. And so I think people can see inside of it, because I never knew that. All I knew was I hated the bottom so bad because I got locked up.
You did?
I did.
For what?
Selling drugs. You know, writing bad checks, getting money from my parents and like turning it back in. And, you know, back in the day, it was all about like you could sign a check in a bank, and they would, if you had the paperwork, they'd give it to you. It ain't the same no more. It ain't the same. And so the bank actually went after me, and I was a habitual criminal. So I've been doing so many things that they had locked me up. And honestly, like real talk, I'm a very religious man. I thank God for that, because it showed me what the precipice looked like.
Can I ask you, like, were you getting sort of arrested? Was there little stuff where you were on their radar?
Yeah. I was the kid who'd always get in trouble for everything. You know that one kid? No matter, everybody did everything, but my town thought I was like the town dirtbag.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I was with all your kids. They just ran faster than me. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you mean? So, yes, tons of little things. And again, like now, like my kids, you know, as terrible as it might sound, as my daughters, if they grew up, I could get them out of all of that trouble. Because I didn't have no one. Like,
of course.
When you grow up in the system, don't matter, white, black, Mexican, gay, straight, like you grow up in poverty, they look at you like a meal ticket. Like they're just like, let me check this person off the street and be done. Because they have this vision of like, they're just, you know, police officers, the whole game, they have this vision of people. And it's sometimes jaded because we suck as people too. You know what I'm saying? And in the ghetto, in the hood, in the shitty stuff, they get real shit. So when they mix it in with you, you might just become a byproduct of someone having a shitty day. Like you ever have a bad day and take it out on the wrong person?
Of course.
Imagine dealing with crap every day, all day. They're going to get some innocent bystanders. You know, and I felt like I was one of that. They pushed me to the rim. I mean, I was getting years in jail for stuff that kids would get 10 days for.
What did it look like? Did they show up to your house and arrest you?
Oh, absolutely. They showed up to all my friends' house first.
Looking for you.
So I had a heads up. So I was like, I really felt like for 5 seconds I felt cool. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm like Chapo on the run.
I'm like, yeah, they're gonna put me on the paper. But then I watched my mom cry, and I watched her be so disappointed. And like, long story short, is I just waited at the house. You know, I knew they were coming. I didn't want to embarrass her anymore. Took my bid. You know, got locked up. Didn't really learn my lesson. Real talk. And when I got out, I fucked up a ton, and they kept putting me back on probation violations. So 90 days at a time. And it was my third time back where I met a guy, and he told me this horrific story about how he'd beat his wife to like a pulp, like in front of his kid. And it just crushed me. And I realized at that moment I was in the wrong fucking place. And I like my whole life changed. Like, you need to have that aha moment.
Yeah, you do.
And
you don't know where it's going to come from.
I did not think it'd come from a dude who beat the shit out of his wife.
You
know, like, which was bizarre to me. But like, as human beings, we're like these challenging metrics. So we're like, when we're both locked up, we're like, dang, we're the same. society chose us to be the same, not either of us.
Yeah.
And then you start measuring yourself around the room you're in.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
That's the interesting thing is like the same way you said growing up in a small town, you measure yourself around the town. So you say like, okay, success means this.
Yep.
And success then to you meant nothing compared to what you have now.
Correct.
The same way you go to jail, you say, okay, these are the new rules. This is success. This is trouble. This is good. This is bad. This is what works. This is what doesn't. But it's interesting how you do sort of like, I don't know, man, you measure and you set the rules to your immediate environment as opposed to looking further. Can I ask you too, like what, honestly, when you first started getting locked up, what did it feel like? Like, were you scared? Were you
terrified.
Did you think it was cool?
Like when I was like on the lam, as they said, it was kind of cool because we all want attention.
Yeah.
Like as human beings, like just give us the attention we deserve from our kids or from our family, from our loved one, from random strangers. Like we want that attention. So when I got it, I was like, oh yeah. Mm-hmm. And then the attention woke me up because when it hits you in the face, you're like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
And so I was terrified. I mean, I didn't look much different than I do now. Wet noodle on a great day, you know? Like, so I'm like, I'm going into prison.
Yeah.
So I wanted my buddies to beat the shit out of me or like make me look worse. And so I was too scared to have him whoop me up. So I had him cut my hair all weird. Like I looked like I was just a straight psychopath, you know? Like this kid is two shits into the wind from like chewing his ear off and attacking you, you know? Like spider monkey flow, you know? But yeah, you go in and it's intimidating, you know? I think more than anything, it's demeaning, and it should be.
Yep.
There's that big fight in this world that prisons are tough on you. Aren't we supposed to be teaching people lessons? I mean, I went there, you know, like it is demoralizing. You are literally like a number to them. You have no rights, no nothing. You are shit on the bottom of a shoe. Yeah. But
that worked for you, right?
Yeah.
I mean that made you feel like I don't want to be this.
Correct. And like every time now, like I even feel like I'm a better adult. Like, because even when my friends like do something that might not be even nefarious, you know, but just something that might be right on the line, I'm like, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah. And it helped me be a better parent. It like built me to be ready to take care of someone else. Because like when you can like have real responsibility for yourself, like true fucking responsibility, like I did this. Yeah. Let's not do this again. Yeah. I know what this feels like. And you can man up or woman up to that. Your whole life actually makes a change. It's really crazy how that goes.
Yeah, you know what? I agree totally. And I feel like that was I'm still learning that. But that was something that I really started learning late, like probably around 26 or 27. But would you say that kicked in prison?
Absolutely.
Because why exactly? Why did you immediately start to draw the connection between I'm responsible? Was it because you ended up there?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And there was nothing I could do about it. Yeah. Like that was the real thing. When you lose your true freedom, it's like, holy crap. There are recourses and there are like reactions to these actions. Oh my God. And even when I was locked up, like real talk, I wasn't like, oh, I'm going to live in this awesome place in the Caribbean and in California. Like I was just like, I'm going to go work as a construction worker. Like I knew all the best dudes in the town owned housing businesses. Like they built local developments. And I'm like, listen, I'm just going to grunt up, learn the trade, hopefully one day get my own little crew and go. Like to me, that was success. Again, having like not the S10 like the drug dealers had, but having like the 1500 Chevy, you know, like the big boy thing, the dad mobile, you know? And I liked that because I saw them happy and they weren't worried about what would happen from it. Yeah. You know, like you start putting like a metrics on dollars, like of what the recourse in your life will be. You know, like do I give up this? Do I give up that? But again, you never really get outside of your realm. It's only until I went on a vacation with a buddy of mine in high school to California.
After prison?
After prison.
Okay.
So this is like me just now dealing with all the crap, trying to come back and be friends with kids that all parents knew I spent, you know, part of my life in prison. They're like, I don't know about you being friends with my kid no more. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, I wasn't even doing the drugs. Your fucking kids were. What are you talking about? I'm just trying to keep my parents out of poverty. But I came to California and it was like, it wasn't even what I saw. It was how people were. It just seemed like, I went through like a time warp. Like I'd fallen asleep for like 15 hours, woke up and I'd come to a new dimension.
Like, what do you mean though?
It's people had like a different outlook on life. Like they had seen something we all hadn't seen. It's like we lived in this like little mysterious box where you were scared to drive out of your town because you're like, I don't know what's out there. To where it's like you're in this world and you're like, lying to us the whole time, you know, like, and it really just opened my mind. And honestly, I don't know what it was. It wasn't the beautiful people. It wasn't the beautiful scenery. It was just like something in the air here. People call it pollution, but
that's called smog. Yeah, no, man, I can relate so much.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've always tried to explain that. And I guess I have trouble doing it too, but it's just the mentality that there is a mentality in small towns, because if you think about it, like, not to get too deep here, but like one family stayed, they raised their kid, that family stayed. So everyone in the town has the mentality of this is as good as it gets.
Yep.
We don't get creative. We don't start businesses. This is what we do.
Yep.
So you're just surrounded by this is what we do. And then you start dealing drugs or doing something like that because you feel this urge to break the mold, but nobody's showing you how to break the mold. Nobody's showing you how to start a business. So sell drugs, right?
Yep.
I think when you come to LA, it's so in the air, probably New York too, of just like, wow, this kid's a influencer.
Yep.
That guy has a clothing line. This guy has a e-commerce business that he's making 7 figures off of. And everyone has something.
Yep.
And I think it gets a bad rap because everyone says like, everyone paints LA as like you come here with dreams and everyone wants to be an actor and everyone gets shit on.
Yep.
There's so much more to it than
Yep.
that. And that's the same thing that hit me. Whatever. I just relate to that a lot.
Well, and I love that. It's like, here's the thesis to that. Would you like rather come and like play against the most driven people in the world and get shit on, or be an ace in shit?
Yeah.
Like, it's your choice.
And the reason why it's almost it's not even like big fish, small pond, small fish, big pond, because the whole mindset is different.
Yep.
It's just like anything's possible. Like there are people walking around carrying guitars while riding a longboard thinking that they're going to be the next Brad Pitt next week. And even though that might be a little crazy, there's something about that spirit that's so good.
Vision and drive. It's better than the toilet seat. You know, I call that syndrome where like, listen, people don't want to even test outside the box. That's what we're not talking about. Because it's like, you don't want to be embarrassed to like your local friends on poker night when you tried to do something outside the norm and you fucked up.
Yeah, scary.
Now you're that person. You're like, oh, here comes Jeff again. He tried to build a sock line. Failure.
Good job, sock boy.
Like, why are you trying to leave us? We're not good enough for you? And that mentality has people so drained from like what's actually put inside of them, you know? And like, and, you know, the big cities do get the bad rap, but maybe for a good reason. Maybe the people who hate the big cities shouldn't be here. Like, real talk. And because, like, when you come here, I don't see people hating it like I see people talk on the news. I see people grinding. Yep. And if you fail grinding, is that failing?
Yeah, no.
That's what the outside sees, because it's easy for them, again, to do this mirror thing. They're like, oh, shit, we're the same.
Yeah.
But they failed, so we are the same.
Yeah.
It's only when they're
they
like,
love it.
how are your friends from back at home? You know, they look at you like, oh my.
Yeah, I don't even, to be honest, I there's a few of them that I miss, but like, I haven't talked to them for years and years and years because unfortunately, once again, I'm not proud of this, but when I got here and when I got exposed to all these new things and my mindset fundamentally switched, they even moved out here a year or so after me, I had trouble hanging out anymore.
Yep.
It was a different, and I still love those guys to death, but it was a different fundamental way of thinking.
Absolutely.
And I think to your point, like, it is that mentality of when you have these smaller towns and nobody has moved out, because that's why they're there, and you do try to do something to move out, like you said, and you fail, they celebrate the hell out of that. 'Cause
Yep.
it's like, nah, man, come back in here with us.
Yep.
Out here, and don't get me wrong, there's all different types of people in big cities, but with our group of friends and the people that we surround ourselves with, we celebrate failures.
Yep.
Like you could come to me and be like, hey man, I'm trying this new thing.
Yep.
I'm gonna try to take over the fucking dog leash business. I have a growth idea. And I'd be like, sick, dude.
Yep.
And you could come to me 3 months later and be like, that shit bombed. I'd be like, sick, what's next?
Yep.
You know, like we don't think that way.
Yep.
Gosh, it's so interesting. Yeah. Okay. Well, listen, keep going. I'm sorry.
No, yeah.
You're getting me fired up.
No, but that's a good thing. It's like good vibrations. It just shows how the world is. It's like how we all met. Like, you'll find your people in this world. And like, here's the truth they don't tell you when you're a kid, and all the kids listening, I hope you like really take this to account, is like, you find your people when you're least expecting them. Yeah. When you're planted in an environment of where people say these are your people, like you grow up in those schools, the friends, maybe you had your whole life, excuse me, you're put into that environment. When you search your own environment and it allows you to show your true sides, you know, that insecurity, like meeting new people, taking new challenges, that's where it's all at. And you meet those people. It's why, like, I love this. I love these environments. I love speaking on your guys' stage. I even said it was one of the best events I've spoke at, and it hands down truly was. Because it was such an eclectic group of people, but it was also the vibe. You just kind of let us come in and do whatever we wanted. Yeah. And like I am, I got rough tone to my voice. I got a lot of swear words in here because for me, in the beginning, I thought business, free, in life, I want to make money, and that was freedom. And then I realized when I could be who I wanted to be, and everyone would accept it because of what I achieved, that I'm like, that's success.
Yeah.
Because you can just be you. And like, very rarely do I get to just come and do these type of awesome things where people are like, no rules, bro, be you.
Yeah.
Normally I'm like, I got a background, they're like, no F-bombs, no F-bombs.
Yeah. Oh, that's
I'm like, good luck.
Yeah. That's the whole reason for the podcast and the events and all that stuff is I'll be honest, what I'm trying to find is I think there's a big gap between, let's just say you're one of those kids growing up and you might be thinking about dealing drugs and you might be like, fuck it, whatever. There's not really anything for you. Everything that feels like these business conferences and stuff that we have been to feels not for you. So when you talk about finding your people, some of your people are actually in there. You just don't know it because it doesn't look anything like your people. And so you revolt against it and you go back to this other world. There's nothing that says, oh, this guy talks like me. This guy looks like me. This guy's been to jail. This guy used to deal drugs. This guy, whatever. And these people are now successful and happy and whatever. That's the thing for me. So that's what I keep trying to, even when I listen to a lot of other podcasts about this type of shit, I'm like, oh, it's so cool. And I've learned to gain a lot of information from it, but it doesn't truly I don't relate to those people. You know what I mean? So I think that's the key that I'm trying to figure out is how do I show that there are cool people that drop F-bombs that are fun to be around and all that shit that are also entrepreneurial and whatever. And I think the cool thing too about the internet is you're finding your people. Like you might be in Wisconsin, but listen to this podcast and be like, gosh, I'm like Chase. I know I am, but nobody around here is like me. And I just feel like if that happens, you have to move. You have to make a change.
Correct.
And I think there's a lot of anger that comes from, and we see it now in our country with all this political stuff and all this anger. I think a lot of that anger is from like unrealized purpose. And knowing that there's this fire in you that you're more than what your current circumstances, but you've never known how to break out of it. And so what do? You take it out on everyone else. You want to burn the whole thing down. The system did you wrong. And I think there's such a need to just get over that one little hump.
That's so well said too. And I love that. I'm like, your same story, mine. It's like most people in the beginning when I got successful, I tried to hide my story. Like I had SEO companies. I mean, I did it all because I'm not like a great person to look up. It's like I got locked up. I have these things. And then when I started making success, like real success, all the people who were my friends back then that again, we just had nothing in common, now became my enemies for no other reason that I was just this giant mirror looking back at them like, this was the shitbag that was locked up in our jail. How did he beat us? And I'm like, you're hating on me for no apparent reason. You're trying to bring me down, yet you celebrate some random person's success. Like, be proud for the person who left the town and did something. And
that's the hardest thing, man.
It is. But just like you, I want people to realize that, like, listen, people who really come from the roughest have the most gas.
That's I've found that to be almost always true.
Use the gas. Like, come on, everyone. Like, if you've got it, they've got to find a way to repurpose it. And like, sometimes the gas feels empty. You need someone else to help that. That's why those events, these ecosystems, when you're bringing real people in, not some guy who behind the scenes did something that no one really ever knew, and he's worth a shit ton of money. Like someone who really just like picked apart on their body and they're like, this is what I'm going to burn up my whole life. It's going to be my feet, my knees, my hands, my brain, whatever. And you watch them do it. And you just realize that like, it's not money. It is your ecosystem, the people you're around, straight up. But that paired with grit. Like if you're with the baddest motherfuckers on the planet and you're still this guy who does nothing, they're going to wash you right away because they just don't vibrate that way. You have to be that like beacon always showing up, always putting legwork. And for these kids that like want to be great right now and they don't got the bread to like start this, be annoying to the people you want to meet to a point where they're just like, holy shit, you are dedicated. And I don't just mean like, hey, hi, tell your story. I wake up every single morning, I go on my Instagram and I go to that other inbox where people write me stuff and I read those stories. Like I go through the people who take real time to write me a real story and then I go look at their pictures, see if it coincides with what they're really saying. And if they are, I reach out. Like, what's up?
Big time. That's why we've come across so many people, like even in my journey, because I was doing TV and all that stuff. So that attracts a lot of people. But you see over time, there's some people who just sort of expect like, hey man, help me out. Or hey man, give me I mean, I get DMs, I'm sure you do too. They're like, hey man, could you send me $1,000? Like my car's messing up. And I'm like, do I know this dude? And like, I don't. And then you see the people that will just offer you nothing. I mean, once again, Casey Adams does that really well. He, from day one, said, hey, man, I have a really cool podcast. I think you'd love to be on it. Is there anything I can help? Is there any blah, blah, blah? And now we're throwing events together. This guy graduated high school last year.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because there's something different about his approach compared to, and that's why it's worked so well for him.
Yep.
Okay, enough of me talking. My question, too, is how did it, number one, were either of your parents entrepreneurial or were they just hard workers?
My dad was a little bit of an entrepreneurial kind of guy. He worked in like restaurants and nightclubs, but more worker bees than anything, trying to find something that built some like stability in their lives. My dad bounced around. He got real bored of places like I do. I buy and sell my house every 2 years. My poor wife, I swear she's going to divorce me sooner than later because of it. But yeah, I just always struggling. I mean, I don't think they gave me the entrepreneur trait. I think they gave me the entrepreneur want. Like I was just sick of what shit smelled like.
Yeah.
It's like when you're in the shit, other people can look at it. Like now I look back, I'm like, oh my God, I grew up terrible. Yeah. But when you're in it, you're like, this is just Tuesday.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how you like forget about it. You know what I'm saying? And it like changes who you are. But again, I have my family always around, like some of my family. I've lost some family along the way due to the fact that if I don't just say yes to everything, now I'm somehow a horrible person, and it just breaks my heart.
Yep.
But I mean, we're always just trying to figure it out, to be honest. It's this constant ebb and flow of, did they teach me the right skills or do they give me all of the wrong ones that I hated it so much that I wanted to find my new ones?
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. You can never
Either
really
way,
pin
that's
it.
great parenting. Like the way I look at it, my mom's like, did I do good for you? I'm like, fucking look around.
Yeah, I just got a freaking RV, Mom.
Yeah, like, and it's funny because it's like all the stuff I buy, things mean shit, but we always try to occupy our time. California traffic, we always try. The RV was my number one purchase. Like straight up.
Your favorite.
Oh my God. My kids went nuts. Like we slept in it 2 nights in a row in my driveway because I'm like this city guy now. I'm like, how do I work this shit? I got the owner like on my speed dial. I'm like, how's a generator turn off? Guys looking at me like, what is going on?
So then how did you, what happened after you so you came to LA or came to California? Was it LA?
No, it was Temecula.
Jesus.
Bro, like talk about coming.
You got that much of a vibe from Temecula?
No, I came to LA to visit, but when I came, I realized how expensive LA was. Yeah. And each city I looked at a little farther away from Los Angeles. Yep. And I had a friend in Temecula. I came out and like, here's the thing is I came out and I was still in trouble with the law. Okay. Yeah. So they had been constantly coming after me, and they put me on one of those house arrest bracelets. Yeah. And this PO was she fucking hated me because I wouldn't let her daughter come to my house parties as a kid, and then a small town, she made it a personal vendetta to like destroy my life, like straight up. Still to this day, she still tries to write me shit. Like she inhibited me getting
like the Meek Mill stuff.
Dude, I've got a passport at 34 years old. I just got it. I've been battling this for this. I'm like, are you kidding me? So when I came out, I had like nothing. I was like, I'm gonna start a whole new life. I literally clipped off my ankle bracelet. I'm like, find me, bitch. I'm not even kidding. Hung the phone up and ran. Yeah. And they came. A year later, they came to my house at my door. In California. At this time, I'm living in Riverside. Yeah. Come to my door. Sitting there, terrible enough. I'm smoking a bong. Just adds to my. I'm like, I have
a new life. This is my new life. Get out.
Yes, complete. Realizing I still haven't gotten it all down. Yeah. Was working my ass off, paid my whole way, but still, bad tendencies. Roommate opens up the door and it's these 2 like SWIFT officers, like in plain clothes, and they're like, "We're here for an eviction warrant for one Chase Hero." I'm like, my heart's pounding. They see this young, skinny kid. They're like, is your dad also a Chase Hero? I'm like, nope, he's not. It's me.
I'm the convict.
They were super cool. They let me call my mom. I'm like bawling, like I'm like, not again. Like a year, finally, I thought I was just gonna be done with it. Like I grew up in poor town. Like if I ran from it, I thought I was good. Like I'm in California. I'm like across the world. They ain't coming.
Yep.
And so they arrest me. They take me to jail. And I have a heart condition called hyperlipidemia. Okay. And I have to take medicine. If I don't, it makes my muscles get real fucked up. So like I can't even like hold a pop can. Now I'm in jail and I'm getting weak as shit. All right.
Because they didn't let you take your medicine with you?
I didn't have it. Like I didn't have it with me and they wouldn't let me go back and get it because they're like, we're extraditing you back to the state of Wisconsin. I'm like, come on. They're like, oh yeah, 30-day drive. Stopping at 30 different jails on the way there. I'm just like this wet noodle blowing in the wind. Like I'm done. Yeah. So I go to see the house doctor. He tells me I'll get my medicine in Wisconsin. So 30 days of just basically going through hell. I'm pissed. I'm not, my body frame ain't meant for jail. They ain't got scrubs for me. I'm sure they're going to have to go to the ladies' side for all the small guys now, but they didn't have what I needed. So I had this orange jumpsuit with these white t-shirt hanging out. And you're in a pod. They're like up on top on this glass wall, and they look down on you, and they're like, "Hero, roll your sleeves up, or you're going to hold it." And I'm trying to be tough. I'm like, "What?" They're like, "Roll your sheets up, you're going home." I'm like, "All right, my bus is here. All right, let's do this." I put all my normal clothes on. Then, they give you all your worldly possessions in a fucking Ziploc bag. They're like, make you feel real great about yourself, even more, just stabbing them.
Everything you own.
Exactly. Be gone.
Yeah.
And they point me down this hallway. I go down the hallway, open the door, it's outside. I'm like, what? Like, no cop, no bus, like, thinking they're going to shoot me in the back of the head. That's how they do it in California. You're done. Yeah. I turned back, and he's like, State of Wisconsin isn't going to pay, or State of California won't pay to extradite you. You're a free man, my friend. They don't think of what you did as a young child that's worth paying to ship you across the country. Whoa. I was like, whoa. No cell phone. No money, no nothing, left it all there, thought I was done. Yeah. Walked 13 miles back to my house and like had an epiphany. Walking in 110-degree heat in the summer in like the hood and like Riverside ghettos, like it's real shit there. Yeah. It gives you like a whole realization of life. So I had this whole thought process, everything was going to change, and it did. I started a construction company 2 weeks after that, and I'll get to that. But I had to mess with my roommates just a little bit.
I love that.
So like the whole way, like, first 8 miles I had plotted my whole life, and like, this is time, it's real. Like, I realized that the real world's a big place and they ain't gonna touch me anywhere. Yeah. So I'm like, it's time. I've actually been given a second chance. Straight up, now I'm the fuck up because I still was in my old ways. Yeah. So I walk up into my place, and right before that, I run the last mile back. So I'm like all sweaty and shit, and I get to the door, and I'm like, guys, hide me right now, man. I jumped out of the window of the cop car. I'm freaking out.
What'd they do?
They panicked. They were going to call the cops on me. They're such sellouts. They're like, you can't be here.
It's a good way to find out how your friends really are. Holy
Scare
shit.
the shit out of them. So call my mom. She was blown away. Mm-hmm. At that moment, it was like real for me. Yeah. So I'm working at a construction job.
How old are you at this point?
I'm like 22.
Okay.
So young kid. Okay. Still fuck up age. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm not saying I'm not that fuck up age anymore, but at least I'm a more mature version of it. Yeah. So work my ass off in this construction company. Literally show up before anyone. Don't get overtime or early time at this place called Triple R. Yeah. Like this little tiny construction. Doesn't exist anymore. Yeah. And got seen by one of these guys who was like a general manager. He ran like a whole crew in San Diego. So, excuse me, I had to drive down to San Diego from Riverside like every day. Mm-hmm. But they gave me a gas card to do so. So I would drive down there, and this guy was a raging alcoholic, okay? Mm-hmm. And he had like 3 DUIs. So he groomed me to do everything he did because he was drunk all day. Yeah. So he got his 4th DUI in a work truck. And it was like his time, like he's done. And they were going to point this new super. And I'm like, listen, you don't even need to pay me more money. I've been running this crew for 8 fucking months. Yeah. Let me have it. I helped take that company from like 8 employees to 80 employees. Yeah. We branched to all the big towers in San Diego when they were building, all the DP&Rs. I ended up leaving that company, starting my own, and then exiting it for like a measly $100,000, but because of a great story, but right before the economy crashed. So 2008, meet a kid at a gas station. Driving a Maserati. I just bought a Range Rover with $65 of $72,000 I had in the bank account. So complete moronic move. You know, LA sometimes does it to you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Sometimes it does it to you. Meet this guy. He has no friends. Kind of an introvert. He's like, I do run ads on the internet. Like, that's how you bought that car? You run fucking... Like, what is this mythological this creature, whatever this thing, this unicorn in the sky that you're talking about? And he's like, no, I run ads. And so he shows me these ads. And it's like he was running these dating services on Craigslist, getting these people who were searching for people on Craigslist to, like, join a dating service. Yeah. It was like this huge, Match.com, that whole era of that just massive uproar. Yeah. So I meet this guy, and I'm like... I hang out with him for 1 week. We just get fucked up the whole weekend and work. It was like the weirdest environment my whole life. I got fucked up and accomplished something. It was like, I'm really taking over a new leaf. He shows me this internet. I make $10,000 in a weekend. And then Tuesday, it hits my bank account. So first it's stats on a page. I'm like, this is some crazy shit. Monday, I like recover. Wake up Tuesday, I got money in my account. I had made money on the internet.
Yeah.
I was
So
like,
that just opened a whole new world.
this is what I want for my life. I got to sit there. I didn't have to like hobnob. And for me, at this time, I would drive into LA to San Diego 2 times a day. San Diego in the morning at 6 a.m. to open the shop up for the guys down there, come all the way back up, run the whole crew in LA, go back at night, shut it down. I put 60,000 miles in my Range Rover in the first 12 months. Like I'm just dedicated. I'm like, I'm getting this. I cannot tell you what it's like to like walk to jail several times in your life and like really have it have an impact on you.
Yeah.
So long story short is we became very good friends and we made a lot of money together. And I didn't go back to my old routines, but this money and this youth made me a fucking terrible person.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was like, it ruined everything for me.
How so?
Because I was like, man, here I am like this fucking drug dealer, you know, and I'm a piece of shit. Now I'm this internet dude and I'm a piece of shit.
Yeah, got it.
It's like, I think I'm better than someone because I bought a Ferrari. Like I remember, I'll never forget a day I sat at a valet one time and I was like, wait, why didn't you get my car first? And like my girlfriend, who's now my wife at the time, looked at me and she was just disgusted.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, I would have heard that. Like, oh, and it's like who, and I didn't even notice it. It's like, you know, like when you put on some weight and you see your friend from whatever, and they're like, dang, you put some weight on. You don't notice it because you.
Same thing. When you're in the water, you don't notice.
Bro, I was like, I'm a piece of shit. And like, let me tell you something about karma. It always finds you. And sure enough, 2 months later, our company went kaput. My ex-business partner and his friend, I won't even give him notoriety because it's just fucked up. Yeah. But they literally were like, they're broke. And I actually saved my money because I came from nothing. I was making $100K a month at the time, living for 4 G's a month. I felt rich as shit. Yeah. And they were like, give me all your money or I'm going to destroy your name online. Like they wanted me to give all my heart because they went broke. These 2 dudes spent like the next 2, I mean, they almost maybe put a gun to my head, homie. Like it was the worst experience of my whole life. No one would work with me. They tried to take my girlfriend from me.
What'd they do? Like put out
all types of stuff. They're like, oh, this kid's no good. Like all these, like, you know, when people take like a piece of the truth and then they spin it.
Yep.
So like I was an affiliate, an online affiliate. You know, I ran traffic to offers. So they would take this thing like, oh, he was running stolen credit card to people's offers. So they'd take a piece of the truth.
Yeah.
And then they'd put in some horrific thing and they would narrate it and make it believable. And like everybody wants to doubt success. It's a lot easier to get a whole bunch of people to doubt what you've done than to believe what you've accomplished.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't do nothing. I didn't defend myself, like ever. Like watched all my friends go. We rented a house together in Malibu. It was actually on the 4th season of like that Malibu Master, whatever, the $1 million thing with Madison Hildenbrand, that whole TV fucking show. Yep. That was our house. And I had paid for it. I paid the fucking rent for it. And I'm in the guest house like a bitch. Just take it in the teeth. Yeah. My girl's looking at me like a demoralized little boy, you know, like just getting killed. On my birthday, like we had the day before, we're like, let's be done with this drama. Like, I'm not going to give you my money, but I'll give you $250,000.
Yeah.
Like, and that's it. Like, we're done now.
Yeah.
Give them the money. On my birthday, they're like, we got a surprise for you. Fucking moving truck shows up on my door. They're like, get the fuck out.
Who are these savages?
Just, you know, like, and that's
these internet ad monsters.
Yeah, you know, and like, and the thing is for like years and years, people just assumed that what it was. But like real talk, like I don't hold any vengeance. In fact, one of the dude's a giant piece of shit still, but one of the guys actually wrote me a letter to apologize, like in an email. And the way he did, he's like, you can use this against me because I fucking destroyed your life. And I was like, you may be the most strong-willed, dedicated person on this planet. Yeah. I'll give a hug if you want.
Yeah.
Like, people forget, like, sometimes the worst situations are what, like, you were destined for to become great.
Yeah.
And, you know, years go by, and the funny thing is, the kind of little everything they always wanted in life, I achieved and then some. So now I get to see them every once in a while around, and I'm just like, I don't got to say a goddamn thing because people just know right away.
Yeah.
And, you know, like I said, it was tough. It was super, super tough. These guys are, like, destroying me. Yeah. And, like, they destroyed me to the point where, like, how I got into this industry, no one would work with me.
Yeah.
So I made like $200K a year, then $100K a year, then $80K a year. Then my girl's like, we got fights every single day, knocked her up. Yeah. I'm like, you need to have an abortion. I'm like a broke child. Yeah. Huge fight. Yeah. She's like, I'm out. Heads to Minnesota, done. I'm like, thought my life changed when I stopped selling drugs.
Yeah.
Made this money, had what people thought was the good life. It was 10 times worse than what it was when I was slanging drugs.
Yeah.
was like, oh my God, I have been dependent on other people's ideas of success again. It just was a legit one versus an illegit one.
Yeah.
So go to the point where I got nothing. Lose my girl. It is now November 12th, 2011. This is the moment my whole life changed. I go back to my dear friend Ten Daddick. He's an engaged BDR owner, one of my mentors and best friends. He changed my life single-handedly. Yeah. I had asked him for $25,000 because I knew he was rich. You know, you meet that friend, I'm like, you rich. Can I have 25 grand? People ask you now. I was that guy. Yeah. So, and he was like, probably like how I am now. I'm like, go fuck yourself. But I was persistent and I'm like, bro, like you live the life I want to live. And he saw like the hunger in me. He's like, man, maybe I can mold this kid to make some money off him. Yeah. Long story short, I got $2,000 in my name now. Wife's gone, you know, my girlfriend's gone, my dogs are gone. Yeah. Living in a shitty place in San Clemente, barely can afford that. They just repoed my Range Rover that I was so happy because I had taken one of those shitty loans out on it just for money, you know, like 875% interest. Yeah. Just kills me. But so I sit down with Teddy, November 12th, 2011. Yeah. Sit in his office, it's like 8 p.m. He calls me and I'm like, oh shit, this is how they kill people in the internet game. They call you in all late and they just execute you. Yep. He brings me in and he's like, I'm going to show you something. And I'm like, oh my God. So they bring a media buyer in and they bring this advertiser in. And the guy's name was Nate Pupko. The guy I worked with, Thomas Joyce. I'll never forget these two people because they also changed my life. Yep. And they're like, we're going to show you how to run a skin product in France. Huge market right now. And I'm looking at them like, you know, like, what do you mean? You know, like they show me how to set up a Facebook account, how to attach my credit card, how to build the page, how to put the offers on, like how to build the whole thing. Sat with me there until like 10:30 at night. Yeah. And like, now go home and don't fuck this up. Start this thing at like 12:30 on the dot. That's going to start a good day in France. You're going to make double your money. This is how this works. This is back in the day. It just works like this. People weren't really running tons of stuff on Facebook at the time, so it works. Go home, still a piece of shit. Light up this joint. And that's one thing, they're like, do not fuck this up. You have to watch the stats. You don't watch the stats, it could burn money to nothing. And you know that now. Pixels ain't placed. Sure. 404 errors. The internet's a crazy place. Yeah. So I go home and I sit there and I'm like, I had relief, but almost to the point where it was too much. Lit this joint up, pass out, start my ads, but pass out, wake up at like 10 the next morning. Like, oh my God. Yeah. Like the moment I realized I wasn't even worth the fucking life that the maker gave me. Yeah. Like, what am I doing, man? Like these rich guys took time, all I ever wanted, and I didn't even listen to them. Yeah. So I'm in tears, like pouring down my face.
Because did everything get messed up?
Well, because I log in, check the stats, $0 made, $1,200 spent. Literally, like, called Teddy. He's like, I don't know what happened, man. Like, I'm so fucking confused. I'll just give you your money back. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I guess it doesn't work anymore. I'll just give you your money back. Like, that's not what I want to fucking hear. I thought my life was changing. I was sick of being a deadbeat. I had $2,000. Parents ain't got no money. Like, no one's got money to help Chase. Like, I'm an ex-con. No one's hiring me. Yeah. He calls me like 30 times through the day. And like, I'm like, I need a minute, man. Like, I'm at the brink of life right now. Like, I need a minute to cope with what is fucking going on right now. He's like, go on your fucking page right now, man. The pixel was not placed. You made a bunch of money. And I'm in shock at this point. I'm like, no fucking chance. Yeah. Like, you're playing with me. Log on, $3,200.
From the initial 1,200.
Homie, like, I'm hysterical at this point. Yeah. Like, hysterical. He's like, turn it back on. Like, I'm fumbling my phone. Like, I don't know what the fuck to do. My whole mind's in this, like, craziness. Ends up spending $2,000. The advertiser pays me. I make, like, a little over $4,000. So I double my money that day. Next day, he's like, I'm going to send you 10 G's because I know you're going to do great, Chase. And I'm like, what? Yeah. He's like, I'm going to prepay you. So he's like, just spend it all. Next day, I spent $5,000 because I didn't trust him really. Make $12,000. Whole life point in the right direction. The first 14 days of January, I made $1 million net. Jeez. From $2,000 November 12th, 2011 to fucking $1 million in 14 days. Like, I was like a different person. Like, my girl and I were talking again. You know, her parents were like, you're not getting an abortion. Her mom is like, as square as they come,
Yeah,
from
yeah,
like the
yeah.
squarest world in the world. Actually, when she first met me, she called me the spawn of Satan, which was just like, yeah, thanks for
All
that.
right, we're off to a rough start here.
Yeah, super, super rough start. But manned up, had my girl come back, got my dogs back. We've been together for 11 years, 3 babies, you know what I'm saying? 4 dogs now, but and it all changed. And I do the same thing to this date, hundreds of millions of dollars later, bootstrap, no investors, no outside capital, just me and my best friend, who I also met through Thomas Joyce, the guy who started me the very first time. He goes, you want to meet this kid? We met. We had a conversation that linked off. I'm like, I'll get to it Monday. He's like, me too. We both did it that Friday, made like 35 grand that day.
Yeah.
Became best friends and business partners. Each year I gave him a little bit more of the company to where now he's my equal in all ways. I even say, edit this out. He's a bit better than I am. Because it's like, and we have this unbridled relationship that is just, we're so
incredible.
same and so different. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's been amazing, and it's been riddled with trials and tribulations, but I owe it all back to the simple fact of you don't really change until you admire someone enough you want to be like them.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be like Teddy so damn bad. Like and he let me be in his life and see him. And that's what gave me the gusto. Like they lied to us in econ class, and they're like, build something, you'll be successful. What they should say is build like 50 fucking things and maybe one of them will be successful.
Yeah.
So just being able to have that great partnership and like go through this. And in fact, this is actually the first time I've really dug deep into this story with people, because, forever people would ask this about me, and they're like, bro, I've seen people write bad things about you online. And I'm like, why wouldn't you defend it? I'm like, well, because I believe that someone should know every single thing about someone, no matter what is true or not, so that you can make your own best inference. Like, I don't want you just to have my fucking highlight reel and be like, this is who I am. Like, hear what other people have to say, good or bad, real or not. Like, just have two sides of me. So, like, when you meet a human being, and anybody, when you meet them, you're like going in there with some judgment to it. Because that's how you should be. It allows you to have your feelers open to see if someone's genuine or real or not.
Yeah.
And that's why I love that you were like, oh, I didn't really dig into it. Like, everybody always asks, my whole team's like, how open are you going to be? I'm like, you can ask me anything. It's like, and I like that because it's like, I was a fuck up. I would have stabbed you for those fucking shoes. You kidding me? Yeah. Like when I first got into business, if it was like $100 grand, it was like you or me, I would self-justify a way to fuck you over and keep the money and then make me feel like you somehow deserved it.
Yeah, of course.
Like, oh, you deserve that.
Yeah, we're good at that.
You know what I'm saying? It's like human beings are like so easy. They're like, they can self-justify a reason that they are completely committing something horrible and doing it. And so like, I just realized that like, I think why I'm able to reach and help people is they realize like, you don't have to fit no fucking mold. Yeah. Like if there was a mold, I think I'd be like vaporized from the planet. It wouldn't even exist.
Yeah. It's so important because what happens is we know now, we've been in this shit long enough. Nobody actually fits the mold, but when it comes to what they put out, everyone tries to act like they fit the mold, right? So it's like behind the scenes, we see all of, that's why on this pod, I try to do the best I can at getting that real, as if we just went and had lunch together, what you would actually tell me.
Yep.
I try to get that out of everyone because I see a difference between what's happening in interviews and magazines and all that stuff or on social media and what people are actually doing.
Yep.
So I think that when people see, these listeners, when they hear the truth from someone, they're like, okay, that makes sense.
Yep.
When I hear that story of this guy who just had it all figured out and he took one big shot and it was right and he made $100 million, something about that doesn't add up to me. It doesn't seem human.
Yep.
This feels like, okay, good. I can do it. My story's not so bad. Where I've been so far isn't so bad. I'm like that dude. You know what I mean?
Yep, exactly.
And that was my biggest problem. Growing up, I always felt like the successful and the happy people were just not from the same breed as me.
Yep.
Like it was just a different species of human. And that's, once again, part of the good side of social media and podcasts and all this stuff is there's a lot of bullshit out there and there's a lot of fakers, but man, there's a lot of good, real shit. And there's a lot of stuff that a guy in Wisconsin or Ohio or Minnesota or wherever can see and relate to and say, okay, there is something for me. There is a future for me out there. You know what I mean? So
it's even
keep
better.
doing that.
Well, it's even better too, because like real talk, like being born in these arenas, it's like salt of the earth shit.
Yeah.
You just look, you're taught not that you can't have, because remember, your ceiling is what's in your fucking neighborhood.
Yeah.
And you're like taught you can reach it as long as you do that job, do that mole. So you're still taught in your head you can achieve with hard work.
Yeah.
It's just what you're able to achieve. And like, here's what I always tell people. It's like, when you come from like the salt of the earth, I mean, you come from all of the most, the world calls basic.
Yeah.
You actually are ahead of people who come from all of this.
Yeah.
Because they're so jaded by it's just awe.
Yeah.
That it's normality. Like my biggest fear with my daughters, that they're grown up in this, that this won't give them the,
Yeah.
because when you give someone that chance who's never been exposed to it, you crush. Like I'll always bet on that underdog who came from like Nowheresville and came out and just drive.
Yep.
Because someone who, I look at them like this. I always tell people I want to start doing interviews in a cold pool. Like that's my new shit.
Yeah.
Because I'm just going to have you run down the thing. And whoever like runs down and jumps full, I'm not going to tell them. Be like, it could be hot, it could be cold, it could be fucking room temp. Yeah. Whoever runs and jumps right up in that bitch, my people.
Yeah.
Whoever tests it out with a toe, just not.
Yeah.
Like those kids and people who come from nowhere and try to do something, like dive head, have no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah.
That's who makes change. And like the more you're out here, it's more guys like you. You know how many people I meet, they're like, I'm from LA.
Yeah, of course.
It's few.
Yeah.
It's always like, I'm from fucking Ohio or I'm
it's so
from
rare.
Sarasota, Florida. I just sold $100 million company. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Because it's that hard work here. You know, it's like you see it and you're like, whoa, here's your box just gets bigger.
Yeah. That's why so many people I've had on here are either immigrants or have immigrant parents.
Yep.
Because it's even more so that, right?
Oh,
it's like
absolutely.
I'm lucky to even be here, or I worked my ass off to even like the feeling of a kid knowing that the multiple people on this show have been kids who their parents, they knew that their parents took the world's biggest risk and sacrificed everything just for them to have a shot at being raised here.
Yep.
And that feeling is like, okay, well, I'm going to make you proud. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
that's kind of what you get from middle America and from those areas is like when you get to an LA or a New York or whatever, it's like, man, I'm lucky to even be here. I mean, I always say I still don't feel like I'm from here. I've been here for 13 years. This still feels like an arena to me that I'm playing in.
I like that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Not like, oh yeah, I'm just comfortable in this. It just still feels like we're on the field here.
And that's great. And believe it or not, like it's crazy to sound and, you know, props to you. Like that's what the world needs. It needs more people with like a good sense of what to do with the power that they're given. Like how many people have produced the kind of revenues and income y'all have? You know, like someone looking on the outside, they might see like, oh, he drives this epic car, lives all this good life. But really it's like you are so passionate and driven. Like I chat directly with you, that event setting up. It's like so much be like, hey, I'm fucking, you know, give me your information, your name. It's like that whole vibe is huge. Like I really think that like the people who come from these small Americas and make money, they're like such an asset to the world because they're not like, I got to be on the coolest shit that the coolest people are doing. Yeah. You might drive the same car, but the reasoning for it is so different. And like, that's what I want people to realize with social media is like, don't focus on the shit.
Yeah.
Focus on how people react to it. Yeah. Like, are they glamorizing the things that most people think are success, or are they just in the background because the person just lives a successful life? Because I always say this, but like nice things are byproducts of people who live in chaos.
Yeah.
Like people have this thought process that, oh, you drive a nice car, you're a piece of shit. Well, first off, like you're right, we're not modest, but it doesn't mean we're not humble.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a different way of looking at it. Like traffic sucks. I don't care if you dead broke or rich as shit in LA, period. They don't let us do the helicopters no more. So, so for me, it's like, I want it to be deaded. I use this time down here. I'm on conference calls. I'm doing everything, you know, and I know I'm not going to be held up with my car breaking down. Yeah. I'm not going to have issues, and people treat me well. Yeah. If I'm in a huge hurry and I roll up my beater, they ain't going to rush me up to the front and I get through it. You know, like it's all for the right reasons. If you use the things that are there, like if you think a Rolls Royce is going to make you better, well, when it's broken, you broken. Yeah. But if it's just a thing in your life, because that lifestyle has those perks, it just does. Yeah. And people are always like, oh, they're jaded. They have all this. They don't care about the items. Let me say something to that. To someone who doesn't have nice things with this amazing life, people seem like that when they have nice things, they're taking it for granted. Yeah. But what people don't understand, it's just their norm. Yeah. Like a cheeseburger at McDonald's is the norm to a person who eats fucking cheeseburgers at McDonald's. Well, when you have a Rolls Royce, it's like a Honda Civic. I don't treat it any different. You come to town, take it. Like it's just another thing. People somehow have this thing like, oh, they don't care about it.
But it's also like what you said earlier about the mirror, right?
Yep.
I think that what people really hate is when they see like, I don't know, maybe like, God, I was going to say Kylie Jenner, but people love Kylie Jenner. Like when they see someone who they truly think didn't work for it and just burns through luxury items, people do hate that.
Oh, absolutely.
But I think that when people see like you in a Rolls Royce, they might say some angry things because it just reminds them of their Honda Civic. And,
correct.
And if they just realized that you can flip that entire story in your head and use that as motivation and not as something that all it's doing now. If you have a bad attitude, now you're just blocking your success all day long because you're mad that Chase has this beautiful Rolls Royce, right?
Yep.
If you used it as motivation, when you get rich, you'll do the same thing and it'll be really fun. And you'll enjoy it. And you'll talk about how people don't like it that you have one. It's the circle that keeps going over and over. But everyone knows that. Everyone that sees you riding around in your Ferraris and your whatever, they know that they would do the same shit.
Yeah.
They're just mad because they don't have it. And so they take it out on, they say, you asshole, Chase.
Isn't that how fucked up we all are as people?
Yeah, that's
like
just what we do.
It's just crazy. Like that's what we need to like address. Like you want to talk about education, it's like how not to be a piece of shit. Because like straight up, I even have to sometimes find myself in the same position. Like we're not just subservious because we're like successful. Yeah. Like you see a friend crush it, and like for a second, I'm like, I could have had that deal. You know, like
you see like someone on like a crazy like yacht party, and you're like, fuck you. Oh wait a minute.
Yeah, that's right. Maybe I'd have done the same thing.
One day maybe I could have.
But yeah, it's just it's crazy, like, and I think it's just because human beings at nature, it's like a challenge thing. And like subconsciously, we're like all challenging each other, like on every single thing we do. We're like, it's like this wits game. A really wise man once told me there's no relationship, there's no business, it's just wits. You either concede, you kind of meet the middle ground, or you win the wits battle. Yeah. And it's like, I think that's what worries people so much here is they're like, dang, did I just get outwitted? Yeah. Like, is that how he's in the world? Like he thinks better than me? Yeah. Like when people don't give a shit about success for the most part, the plurality of people, unless it's put in their face. Yeah. And that's the part that kills me the most, because if you went back to your child as a youth when, they asked every kid, what'd you want to be? And it was something great. Yeah. Like what stopped us from that time to like our adolescence and young adult where we just kind of like got jaded by everything and thought
fear. Yeah. I think it's that fear of it's really scary it doesn't matter if your childhood, let's just use a super cliche childhood dream. You want to be an astronaut.
Yep.
Leaving your high school and going to frickin' wherever astronauts go to college is scary. Because you're saying, not only is it scary because you're going to some unknown world, but you're telling all your friends, I'm going to go try to be better. And if you fail, it destroys your entire vision of yourself. Yep. And that seems like total disaster. That seems almost like actually dying.
Yep.
And so nobody wants to take that risk. And little do they realize it doesn't mean that. And you can fail 50 times, you can still go become an astronaut. But nobody realizes that. They think that it's like having a gun to your head, and if the trigger's pulled and you fail, you're dead. Your whole identity is dead. Yep. And now look who you thought you were. You're just one of these regular old nobodies. And for someone to be successful, and I still work on this with myself, you have to face that fear every day.
Yep.
There's phone calls that I make almost every day where I'm like, ooh, this one's gonna, like if this guy says, nope, not interested, it's gonna challenge your ego. Yeah. And I had to learn to deal with that.
Yep.
But I think it's that fear. And then it's so easy to look at successful people or whatever, people that piss you off, and just become bitter and become almost like a martyr and say, you know what, I'm not, I know people that almost have the attitude of like, I don't succeed to prove how unfair the world is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I just gave up
because
fuck them.
It's not exactly.
It's like, so what, you want to be the poster boy for how unfair the world is? That's how you're going to put
next Wheaties box coming up. I got this.
The world is unfair. It's been the most unfair to me.
No, and you actually said something that I love. You were like, I'm going to go be better. That statement has destroyed more lives than anything for not even the person who's going to be better. Yeah. The people around them think that statement, I'm going to be better, means that you're shit and I'm going to be better than you.
Yeah. Because everything is a reflection of ourselves.
It's just like, I want to go do something. Wherever you're at in life, this has no bearings of it. But they're so worried because that like disposition in those people's heads are like, oh, they want to be better than us. And they're rooting for you to fail.
Yep.
And like most people, because of how social media is, and there is so much bullying and so much intenseness on people, we now, are going to more social connections, having bigger groups of friends, trying to like have soldiers have our back. And we now are so worried about letting them down by them thinking that we're trying to be better than them or inferior because we don't succeed. And it's like, if we as human beings thought about that, we'd stop inhibiting our friends so much.
Yeah.
I like go out of my way to make sure I don't do that to people because sometimes you're doing it, you don't even know. Like they'd be like, I'm going to go start this. And because you've heard a bunch of schmuck ideas from so many people, like, yeah, whatever. And that little rebuff or whatever, they're kind of like, fuck, maybe I am not worth it. Maybe he doesn't like think enough of me.
It's the most subtle thing.
But like Kylie Jenner sells $12 million in 12 fucking hours and every chick dude in the world's like, she's a boss.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Redoing her shit on their stories.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny how people celebrate strangers' successes, but their friends, they just can't do it. Like that mirror has got to be so fucking massive. We should have like a
big
challenge,
one.
smash the mirror. Like, how do we smash the mirror of people looking through it? Because real talk, it's not as hard to be successful as one thinks.
Yeah.
It's just hard to reshape your mind to keep going.
Yeah.
Like
That's all it is.
Straight up. Like
It's what you look at and where you put your energy. If you put your energy, this sounds cliche, but it's cliche for a reason. If you put your energy on what everyone else is doing and how that's not fair and they got it handed to them and this was cheap and they're a crook and this and that, that's all just time not spent building up yourself. And I think that a lot of people, here's the trippy one, a lot of people think that rich or successful people are like narcissists, right?
Yep.
Or self-centered, or that's kind of some of the judgments.
Absolutely.
Actually sitting and thinking that your friend's success means anything about you is narcissistic.
Truly.
Thinking that everything around you is a reflection of you is exactly what narcissism is seeing the whole world as a mirror of reflection of you.
Yep.
And so some of the people, I hate to say this because it's going to rub a lot of people the wrong way, but some of the unhappy, unsuccessful, bitter, angry people that call all these people self-centered and narcissistic are some of the most self-centered, narcissistic people that exist.
Absolutely.
No one gives a shit if you want to go start your business, if you want to go be rich, if you want to go, no one cares. Go do it.
Yep.
No one's holding you back. No one's going to call you stupid. No, like go do it. And the like you said, you'll find your people. They'll gather around you. You'll have a great life. Stop thinking that everything around you is a reflection of you. No one cares.
That's a true statement. No, and I always tell that people in sales, like when they're, when I'm telling someone to run a product online and what to do, the first thing people tell me like, oh, I've heard this a million times before. I'm like, well, then why the fuck aren't you successful?
Yeah.
Like the same way to be successful back in the day is the same way now. There's just more avenues to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like people somehow think that like it's changed.
Yeah.
Hard work.
Yeah.
Find out where the puck's going.
Yeah.
Now you have the ability to reach out to anybody, see what people are doing. I mean, like, think about that. Back in the day, success was like the guy in your town.
Yep.
Like the local dude, like the biggest business was like Joe's Construction. He's the shit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But now you can like see some influencer, some person who did nothing. Like I'm good friends with Jake and Logan Paul. Love these kids to death. With the fact that they came from this small town.
Yeah.
They kind of are like, whatever anybody says, we're going to push through, and they just entertain. And you've watched someone that anybody could be. I tell them all the time, like, that's why you're so amazing. Like you influence people that anyone can be that.
Yeah.
I can wear all my J's and all this stuff all I want, but I ain't no LeBron James. I mean, look at this dainty flower of a body. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm done. But like I can influence people.
Yeah.
So it's like, influencers are the new celebrities as long as they utilize it the right way.
Yeah.
Like it's where it's all going.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like anything. There's a good and a bad. Like the problem is everyone is like a mini celebrity now.
Yep.
So you're worried about all the things that celebrities are worried about. Like how do you look and how is this going to come off? And should I take this risk thing is magnified because now your 2,000 followers might not like it and you might lose followers today.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. You know what I'm saying? And that's the type of shit that like movie stars worry about if a movie bombs.
Yep.
Now Joe in Idaho is worried about that. But the good thing is, if you look at the good side of it, is you have the ability to build all of it from scratch. Like those kids. I mean, I'm going to be honest. I didn't like Jake or Logan at all until I met them.
Yep.
And the moment I met them, I'm like, oh, you guys are just guys trying to figure it out.
Yep.
And you're just creating good content. You have a gift for that.
Yep.
You've scaled. You've done it. I'm not mad at you.
That's how Kanye West is. His daughter and my daughter go to the same school.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And so I was like, when I met him for the first time at Daddy-Daughter Dance, like you're like, all right, this ultimate celebrity is not showing up like the rest of us basic. Well, I'm the basic dad. All the other dads aren't basic. I got lucky. And this is when all this controversy is going on.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with him like, holy shit,
He's
you
the
are
nicest guy.
the nicest guy in the world. And actually like highly intelligent to the point where like if I was your friend, I would make you sit at the other end of the table because your fucking brain is so big, it would make me feel insecure.
Yeah. And how in real life, how like soft he is, for lack of a better word.
Correct.
Like on camera and all that stuff, he's so like, I'm crazy. Whoa.
Yep.
And then like when you meet him, he's so like kind and almost, you know what I mean? It's
Like
just so
passive.
weird.
It's like, and it's like what I love about it is like he's just a real person. And like this is what I love about Los Angeles. Like I get to interact with like guys like yourself who I've looked up to as well. And like you're a real dude. You're always dressed real, great style, but always like you don't give a fuck. I mean, come on, let's just be real. You're like, I got a busy day
When you
to
said
do.
great style, I was like, wow,
But you know what I'm saying. But like
Yeah.
this is the new shit. We made this thing. It was like a tuxedo. It's like the new age. We just kind of come in just comfy. Comfy is fashion now. You know. But it's like you see that these people that are so successful are showing you how to be a good person. That's really what I vibe with.
Yeah.
If you've made a ton of money, you've done really well in life, and you have this like aura of just very normality or very like awesome, genuine.
Yeah.
It teaches me. I like to learn. It reminds me that like money doesn't define you. It's like saying someone because their profession has to be good. It's like saying like a police officer has to be a dick because he's a police officer. Like that's not true. A rich guy doesn't have to be a dick because he's a rich guy.
Yeah.
Like it's just around who you are. And like when I go to these schools and I meet these people, like they're there picking their kids up. Don't let the fucking news hype you of assistance. I see Kim and Kanye and all the people pick their kid up every single day from school just like we are.
Yeah.
Because they're just trying to instill the same values and the same everything. It's like when people realize that everything, is relatable just on different levels, you'll still really start becoming comfortable with what you can achieve.
Yep.
Like we're all just very basic people with some really cool super talent that you're supposed to spend your life finding out what that is. Yeah. And when you find it out, like whatever society tells you, you find your shit, you get in this vibration that kicks off excellence. And I feel like you seed back into who you used to be.
Yeah.
Because you stop thinking about like,
Back to that kid that wanted to be an astronaut, kind of.
you're like, I'm that person.
Yeah.
Because the real players, the real people doing shit aren't worried about like how they look or what they're eating for dinner or like letting the world know how epic they are.
Yeah.
They'll show it when they feel like they want to share with the world, but really they really focus on just being them and being happy in the world and sharing their information. So, and all those kids who want to be bigger in social media, like I'll tell you right now, like how I grew my following, and it's not huge, but how I have such an engaged group of people who just fuck with us always is I don't give a shit about the people who don't give a shit about me. And you shouldn't either.
That's a real like muscle to build. I mean, some people are born with it.
It's tough.
But yeah, you got to just know that not everyone's for you.
And think about it every day. It's not like today it's going to be easier than it was yesterday. You're constantly fighting that battle. Everybody is challenging everybody. So like you can get 1,000 thank yous. Some guy writes a really good fuck you.
Yeah.
You want to rip his head off.
Oh, it'll ruin your whole day.
Yeah, sometimes you're like you like type out this like awesome like witty response, you know? You're like, what color were the paint chips you ate as a child? You know what I'm saying? And then you realize you're like, God dang it, he won the battle today.
Yeah.
And it just takes you off, you know? So like the way I look at it, I have this thing called the bottle cap method. Like you try to even breathe on my fire or you try to blow out my candle, I do you just like a bottle cap and that thing's in the trash, never think about it again. Don't even let the engagement happen because the second you do, you'll be fiddling with it forever. Yeah. Because people want the advice of other people, whether they fucking like it or not.
Yeah.
They want to know what people think about them. It's the fucked up part of us all. Yeah. You always want to be like, am I enough?
Yeah. Plus it's simply, you know, once again, not to nerd out here, but we're programmed to spot the negative in the sea of good.
Yep.
Because when you're a caveman and you're chilling with all your caveman homies and everything's looking good and you hear a little rustle in the bushes, you got to run from that shit.
Yep.
And it sounds crazy, but that is what it is. And so to understand that you're just wired to look out for something that no longer serves you. You're treating the fuck you, Chase, you're a clown like it's a panther in the bush.
Yep.
And of course you're focusing on it, but you gotta know like, okay, right now I'm acting like a stupid caveman. If I focus on this, that's what I'm doing.
Yep.
and move on. But it is like, it's in us, man, to look for that thing. But that's what holds back a lot of progress.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nature just to have that first hate. And like, once you learn to overcome it, it changed you. And like, here's the real thing. It's like, we all know what we're supposed to do. I always use the thing that's like the gym. You know, it's like, there's all these things to make you in perfect shape and all that shit. It's like, or just go to the fucking gym. Then there's 80 on every street corner. It's like, us as people know how to be better people and the action to take, but we just don't want to do the legwork because it means we got to change who we are right now. And it means, and this is what people don't think it means, what we're doing is a losing method, okay? And like, what's the singular version of losing? You're a loser. And like, for the human being to say that, like, we praise winner. People, when they win, they praise them. The only time when you lose, you show someone their laws if they're like locked up. But like, people need to understand, like, if you're not where you want to be, you have a losing mentality. I say this to people all the time, and it ruffles a lot of people's feathers. And, you know, like, for me, I just don't care because I'm like, I look at it, you either hate me and get better or you love me and get better, either way. But it's like this. People are exactly where they deserve to be for the most part. Good or bad. It's like, and when you actually realize that, it is like a whole whirlwind of change. You're like, oh my God, I have free time. I spend it being a dipshit online all day. Or I'm at the bar with the buddies. Or, you know what I'm saying? It's like, people always like have this negative connotation with like trying to make yourself better. But like, we're not kicking our buddies in the face who like, let's go to dinner. And you're like, he's like, I promise we're not getting blackout tonight. And all of a sudden it's blackout and I got 15K at the club. I'm like, I wish you would have fucking said, I've got this get rich quick scheme. I'd have had a better chance of getting something from it. You know, like, it's just the thought process now of it being successful, something being successful. I think social media has made a lot of it like it's either not real or they did something behind the curtains you just don't know about. Like, you came from, I didn't know that you came from all that money, by the way.
From what?
I'm just kidding. You know what I mean? You see what I'm saying? But like, that's the whole thing. Like, people just, there has to be a reason. And like, when you actually just take that out of it, like just eliminate that. Like, when you meet someone, good or bad, eliminate any connotations of where they are in life and just go through that situation that way. And you're going to realize that the people who you thought were going to change your life were not. And the people who are like, who you thought were like nothing's burgers will probably change your life. Because they'll put something in your brain that will make you either not want to be there or go somewhere else. And it's really fucking wild.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing, man, and the biggest thing from your story is when you can truly realize that you are the result of your actions, period. It sounds so easy, but man, just take a second and think about it. Like, you just, like, it's the same way you said people are where they deserve to be. You're the result of your actions up until this point, period. So if you're in jail, if you're broke, if you're rich, if you're whatever, yes, there are exceptions, but the exceptions aren't the rule.
Correct.
So live by the rule, don't live by the exception.
Absolutely.
That's such a freeing thought or reality because now you can change it.
Correct.
Now you can change your actions, and that's what you did. Multiple times. Change your actions. You change your outcome, you change where you're at, bam. And now you get to come on podcasts and talk about why no one understands it and why, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's how it works.
It's a fucking honor too. It's like an absolute honor. It's like, and I want people to realize that because like before you know, your world changes. Everyone's looking for a mentor. You want the greatest mentors in the world, be the greatest mentee. Like, be someone who stands out in a sea of shit. Like, I always say this in this world, most people are just dog shit. All you gotta be is cat piss. Like, it sounds so fucked up, but like, people think to be great in the world, you gotta like figure out world hunger. No, like, unfortunately, most people get pissed off by this, but like, people are getting lazier and have more excuses and like are more distracted. And like, listen, society's built to distract you. You're like, look at all the stuff that's around that's to distract you from your normal plan of action.
And there are people spending billions of dollars figuring out how to distract you better. So if you want to fight distraction, you're against Facebook, Instagram, Amazon, one-day shipping, targeting, the shit where now it feels like they're listening to your conversation and they're serving you an ad for a trip to Hawaii.
They're brilliant.
Like, you're against that.
Yes. And the thing is like, what I tell people is like, people have the hardest time realizing the good in the world because their life's so shitty. So like, I always like people to have stuff to take home. Like, if you want something to take home, like how I start my day every day, I feel like I got a badass routine. So I wake up every day earlier than everybody else, 5 a.m., not earlier than everybody, but I don't like go have this amazing fucking like workout or like I literally pick a computer up and I just watch motivational stuff. Maybe I have someone on my team get it to me. Maybe it's fucking Ellen DeGeneres who just always does awesome shit for people or whoever it may be. And what I watch is good.
Yeah. I do the same thing.
Life is war.
Yeah.
And if you're still fucking trying to pull the sword out of your back from the day before, you're going to have a crutch with your walk and the rest of the world's going to see you and they're going to be like, get him.
Yeah, he's the weak one.
Get him.
Yeah.
And like when you actually realize every single day is a new life, like this, like think about that. Yeah. Every day you can start out a brand new life. Yeah. Nothing from the day prior can be in today if you wake up with a new passion, a new drive, and you focus. And like a lot of people are like, there's not enough time in the day. I can't get up. I try earlier. Well, get up 1 minute earlier every day until you reach your time. Like people keep swinging for the fences. I got to where I'm at from bunts and singles. The lamest stuff no one talks about.
Yeah, because there's all these goddamn challenges. I make fun of Tyler and these guys because there's the new thing is, and I get it, it's good for marketing, it's good for whatever, but it's like, this is the 4 a.m. challenge, and every day this month I'm going to wake up at 4 a.m. And it's like, but then even if you do it, you kill yourself and you do it for a month, the day it's over, you go back to old you. Just those baby steps are so big. So what else do you do? I don't want to ruin your morning routine. What else do you do after that? Watch.
So then I just go to my team. So right away I go with a positive mindset. And I used to, be real honest, I used to run my office like a goddamn just dungeon. And I would just scream at everyone. Yeah. And so like now what I try to do is talk about people's positivities and try to focus on me being a better leader by being like, holy shit, you really suck at this in my head. And being like, I'm not going to give you that task because those 8 tasks you're crushing. Yep. Mind you, some people suck at all of them and I've got to let them go. But like what I do is I start my whole office on a positive vibe. Yeah. I show them the vision we're trying to achieve here. I constantly tell them my story. Yeah. I constantly open up that. And then now, in fact, like we build educational platforms and we bring our team in first. Yeah. So it's like if I'm going to go train perfect strangers on how to do what I do, I'd be a pretty fucked up person if I didn't give it to my family first. Yeah. And then now I can learn all these things from them. So I keep this positive mindset in my office. And then normally I take like 20, 30 minutes. And sometimes I go for a drive. Mm-hmm. A lot of time it is that. And I drive through very affluent neighborhoods. And it sounds real messed up, but it's nice to see even in the worst times of the world, there's worlds that don't go through it. Yeah. And like, I'd love to do that. I'll still drive through like the richest areas and pretend, this is embarrassing, pretend like that's my driveway. I'm just headed home. You know what I mean? Do it too all the time. I actually sometimes will sit like, thank God we drive nice cars so I don't look like that crazy guy out. They're like, they might fit in here. But I literally will like pause for a second. You ever like drone off and like play your life out? Yeah. I always made this statement like, what happens if someone told you that those visions you had in your dream, in your mind, were actually your life? All you had to do was put in the work to achieve it. Yeah. Like if you can see that so vividly, how can you tell me that that's not my future? Yeah, there's something to that. I mean, I'm here because of it. I've been manifesting in nice neighborhoods since like 2008 when I was watching the economies go to shit. But all those nice neighborhoods, I mean, they're walking their dogs, like everybody's faces, maybe they're Botox, but everybody's faces were smiling. Stuck happy. They were, and it was like, they weren't like these monsters on the tops of bones and like just They were just genuinely living their own fucking life, happy, oblivious to everything else. Because like true happiness is kind of being oblivious to the noise. You know what I'm saying? Like people always talk about change. You want change? Change your shit first. Yeah. Like you change your shit, your friends around you will change their shit and they will happen. Until then, stop talking and focusing and letting all the things that don't really affect you get up in your brain. Like if it ain't paying you rent, get it out of there. Yeah. Because if you want to actually enact change, you got to become powerful. Yeah. I also feel like the problem of today, for so long, the problem was, how do I get more information, right? Like, oh my God, TV is invented. This is amazing. Yep. I can get the news. I can know what's going on. I don't have to rely on the newspaper. Yep. Oh my gosh, a computer. Oh my gosh. So it was always this struggle for more information. This is the first time ever where we have too much. Correct. And so the real skill to build is to have less. Yep. So how do you discipline yourself? What's your morning routine? How do you treat social media? How do you treat the comments, the DMs, the negative? How do you treat the fact that every day it seems like the world is literally imploding? From Hong Kong to here to riots to Portland, Oregon. How do you block all of that out actually and remember who you are and where you're going and what your dreams are? Because 99.9999% of all of that means nothing to where you're headed. Correct. So that's the new skill that I'm still trying to build and everyone should try to build, because it's hard to operate out of fear. And
when you're adding the fear of what other people are thinking, fear of losing your friends, fear of a recession, fear of a civil war, fear of, how are you going to get anything done?
Yep, it's true. And honestly, like I normally I'm not into it too much. Honestly, I'm not on social media too much. I put my life on there.
Yeah.
I'm not like sitting there like watching everybody else's life.
Yeah.
One of the big key things that I have is I take time to just disconnect sometimes and like take a moment to make sure my mental health is in the right thing. If I'm having a super shitty day, say like mids go down, ads get crushed, like I'm spending $500,000 a day to like fucking air.
Yeah.
Like I'm in a shit mood. Yeah. Like you fart next to me, I'm gonna pull a gun out or something, So I step back. Yeah. And like I don't want to see people's successes that day. People need to realize that sometimes just take a fucking breather. Yep. Like I find it funny that when like social media goes down, people like lose their shit. Like we forgot how to be humans because we're so caught up in that noise. Yeah. Noise is the number one distraction. But if you're so hyper-focused in your craft, literally the only other noise that you have is normally your family. Yeah. So I probably like you, I work so damn hard and I purposely do it. Sometimes I overwork myself because I don't want to get caught up with he said, she said. I look at it like this. Doesn't matter what side of the fence, Republican, Democrat, you are on. Yep. Like I made my money in two different types of terms. Yeah. So that didn't really fucking matter, right? Yeah. They're fighting about injustice and all these things. My life still went forward. Yeah. So like when you just fucking realize that it's not inhumane of you not to care about the noise that's constantly put out there, that you can actually change things. I personally think, and I've been told that I'm impacting so many people's lives because I live in that arena. Yep. Because the second you say kind of like, people are like, how'd he do that? Yeah. It's like unplugging. They like unplugged from the bullshit. Yeah. And when you do that, you can go out and focus. And like, it's not easy. Like people try to like make it seem like when you're successful, like we have some gene in our body that means like we don't want to just sit on our ass one day. Oh my God, I would love to sit in my theater and just go on a movie binge. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But it's just who you are. Yeah. Like you just understand in your brain what the end results will be, where that will put you. Yeah. And if that's what you really want to do, you'll figure it out. Yeah. Like because your output-input effect. I think that everyone should treat their bodies, minds, and souls like Walmart does their square footage. Uh-huh. They know exactly what that shit's worth per square foot. Yeah. They can be like, I'm going to build a 30,000 square foot building. They know exactly what they're making by the square foot. Like that should be your human being. Like you should know your worth. So every time you toss some shit off, you're realizing it. Yeah. And I always say to people like, too many people say they're a piece of shit today. And they don't even know they're doing it. Yeah. Like if you realized how shitty you're treating yourself, it's crazy. Or like, how about this? People hate social injustice, right? Mm-hmm. Slavery, Black Lives Matter, gay, straight, they hate all this injustice, right? What happens if I told you the second they took the chains off people's legs and hands, they put them around your fucking head? Mm-hmm. Like people are slaves to so many things right now. And like the masses have believed that they're free. Yeah. Yeah. How free? Yeah. Like how truly free are you? Can you be gone for a month? That kind of freedom? Yeah. Would anything happen in your life? Would it all go to shit? Yeah. So like I think that when people really realize what they're capable of, like what a human body, I don't give a fuck where you came from, what you're made out of. You're looking at an ex-con who grew up in poverty, who's got the body of a fucking 13-year-old chick, like looking great with my hair flowing. Yeah. I should be an act that, and I didn't do great in school. Like I didn't come from some rich entrepreneur parents. Like I wasn't given some like drug from fucking Morpheus to make me better. Like I just realized that the noise is so powerful. Yeah. And like I'd rather make my own noise than hear it all the time. Yeah. Yeah. And then it changes. But it's the hardest single thing someone can do is figure out their own self-worth because only they can decide that, and almost everybody on this planet lets someone else decide it for them. Yeah. Like for me, like I love you. These guys seem great, but like if you all didn't like me, like I'd leave out of here with handshakes, like power, and I'd be like the same chase. Be like, I would be like, man, I wonder what I did wrong to make them not like me. Yeah. Because now you're starting to think that something you did, and like some people just don't like me because I swear or because I'm intense. They're like, what drug are you on? I'm like, I was in prison. I live in this beautiful place. I don't got to worry about money. The drug I'm on is, holy fuck, success is awesome. Like I'm truly so, and like there is luck to it because I was lucky enough to have the wherewithal to like see it through.
Yep. Yep.
And some people don't have that. Some people's lives have so many harsh distractions. I mean, the real people going through like medical issues, mental issues. Like, there's real distraction that a whole bunch of fucking clowns that just are having a bad day you like use as excuses. You know, like.
Yep.
So
Agree.
I just want to see people. Like, I love doing stuff like this because I love the vibrations. Like, when I walk through the hallways of this place, this building, you know, like seeing your people, like how they're just got a good fucking polite, like trying to like walk me through doors, and I'm over here like, nah, motherfucker, you go first. You ain't gonna out polite me here right now. I got you. You know, like you're like, holy shit, there's a different side of it. And like, I feel it's like sometimes we live in outer space, and like I'm happy with that. Yeah. Success is outer space. Yeah. It doesn't conform to the same rules.
Yeah.
And
you
stop,
are an astronaut.
Yeah, and
you became an.
And another thing is stop listening to people. You know what society calls this norm. If you want to be abnormal, stop listening to what society claims is normal people telling you how to live.
Yeah, there's no such thing.
Like, your relationships aren't going to be the same. Like, nothing's going to be anywhere. You know, I hate that when people are like, oh, your husband's always there, because you know my company is based in the Caribbean. I'm in the Caribbean more than half the year. That's where my home is. Yep. You know what I'm saying? And people are like, oh, this and that and this. People have no fucking idea. Yeah. Like, mind your business. Yeah. Focus on your shit. Like, until you're so perfect in life, don't talk about anybody else. And even at that point, you'll realize there's still more work to be done.
Yeah, big time.
Grow it up.
So that's a perfect note. There's still more work to be done. What's next for you? Because now you're doing, so now you have this company that does, what's the way to generalize it? E-commerce advertising?
Yep.
And you're heavy into Bitcoin.
Yep.
Where do you take this all? Where do you go? You're still very young. Yep. You have all this energy. Where's it at in 10, 20 years? You
know, that's a great question. We're trying to figure it out. You know, I had the guys from Bain Capital come to my office, like Mitt Romney's fund. Mm-hmm. And they're like, they want to buy my company. Mm-hmm. And they're like, well, what do you want? And I'm like, I want my seat at the table. But I don't just want it for me. I want it for me and all my friends. Yeah. And like, we don't really understand what you mean. I'm like, you know exactly what I mean. And so that's what I'm looking for right now. Right now, I want to build a tribe. You know, like, I really enjoy hanging out with like highly intelligent, highly motivated people. It doesn't mean you're like super successful. Like, some of the most intelligent, highly motivated people make $60K a year and they just don't know what body they're in. Yep. But for me, it's all about like this interaction with people. We're trying to build these ecosystems, kind of like what you guys are doing, where people can come free of the bullshit. It's like, imagine if you could find your significant other in like the perfect pond. It ain't in the club, it ain't in the bar. It's like they were all pre-qualified going into it.
Yeah.
So like, I like to create these environments because what I've learned about business, real business, and maybe you relate to this, maybe you don't, is I could have never done it myself.
Yeah, no.
Like, I need a team partner.
Yeah.
And the hardest thing was like finding that right person.
Yeah.
So for me, when I found Zach, my business partner, it changed my whole life. And I see people getting fucked over constantly with the wrong person. My number one thing was like, I'm going to build an ecosystem that's unjudgmental. You know, we don't judge anyone. Like, how could I look at my fucking self? Like, you're good. And I think that's what people, they feel warm and cozy with that. Yeah. And that we wanted to give enough value so that in time we ever asked for anything, it'd be like a homie being like, damn, you've been so good to me. No problem. I got you. Yeah. So that's kind of our thesis. And to kind of like, we got into the education space because of all the fucking clowns being like, Gucci shoes, check me out on this fucking jet. That's Jet Suite X that I just chartered. You know, like, listen, I fly jets all the time. Shit fucking sucks, man. That money sucks to burn. But it's like, I do it because I don't have an extra 2 fucking hours. I got fucking 4 dogs, 3 kids, all cleft palate dogs, you know, like a huge team. So it's like, a kid was online telling people how to make money online, and it was a giant lie. And so I was just so sick of it. I was like, you know what? I'll offer you some advice. And then I got destroyed by all these kids. Like, who the fuck are you? And I was like, you know what? Screw it. Here's my tax returns showing you exactly what I've done. Yeah. And it's bred all this. They're like, damn, this kid is not fucking playing. And we built a group that allows people to kind of like talk and chat and like get real information. Because in business, and I want people to understand this, like in education and business, the internet's just like a local business, brick and mortar. Yeah. People think because it's the internet, you're rich tomorrow. Mm-hmm. It just allows your company to have a much bigger output for your input. Yeah. But it still takes years, and it still has the average death rate of a normal fucking business. Yeah. So like we like building a group showing people that like ecosystems are what matter, follow through. Like, could you imagine if you just had your first idea, where would you be right now?
Oh yeah, maybe back in Ohio.
You know what I'm
Starbucks.
saying? Like, and it's like having the right people you can bounce ideas off. So you're constantly stimulated against the noise. Like this right now, like just being here with you, this is going to have me stimulated the whole fucking week.
Oh yeah. Same.
Like you got me, you're my drug for the week. Like how you vibing? I'm like, I'm on drama right now. We good. Because this gets me going. Like you can feel the intensity. Like my body will shake. Like it gets me so riled up.
Yeah.
And I'll feed off this, and my team will get the good vibes that come from this.
Yeah.
And I realize that growth is huge. So for us, it's like the goals I've wanted to achieve in business, I've superseded them. Yep. I mean, there's obviously financial goals I want to have, not because I want to this. It's because I want to prove to myself that my life is unlimited. Yep. So I want to pick the goals that are so fucking limited to most people that you got to set them high. Yeah. Like, I want to take over the world. So if I take over California, I still did a fucking great job. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like, too many people are like, shit, I just want to pay my rent. Well, how about you want to pay a fucking price on a mansion, and if you buy yourself a comfy home in cash, you still won in life. Yeah. So impact, like doing more stuff like this, getting out. I mean, up until about a year and a half ago, I never really got out in the scene because I didn't want people to bring up my past and like use it against me. Yeah. Like I was kind of nice not having people really laying into me too much, and having to justify my life. But I realized that my superpower wasn't being good at business. It was having leather skin. Yeah. It was being able to take anything and show people that it doesn't matter what people say, think, do. Yeah. You crush. Yeah. So we'll keep pushing our brands. We'll keep pushing online products. I think that's where everything is going. Like, and we do it a little differently. Obviously, we build subscriptions in the back of all of our stuff. I like to think that I'm the single largest online Costco builder. You know what I'm saying? In my own little versions. Yeah. And I love that because it gives me the power, the freedom, and the mental education to help other people, straight up. And it's not for no reason. People try to think, oh, there's got to be a reason for this. Oh, fuck yeah. I get a high off this like you could never believe. Yeah. You ever give someone a gift who never thought they were going to get it?
Oh, yeah, it's the best.
Imagine changing people's lives. 2 of my clients quit their jobs. They stayed at my house for like the last 3 days. Yeah. One of them was a kid I went to high school with. His name was Brent Garr. He's crazy. Hits me up 10 years later. He goes, his Instagram message to me was, "What the actual fuck?" He's like, he goes, "I know it's not drugs. I've been following you too closely. I know you're in good business because you're on stages everywhere." Yeah. He's like, I know you have a program. There's no way I would qualify for it, but I'm telling you right now, you give me a fucking chance, I'll be your killer. Yeah. 6 months into it, I'm like, oh God. And I'm gonna get a bad name again from all these people because he's gonna give me money, fuck up, and be done. Yeah. Now he quit his job. They did a couple $100,000 last month. And it is just watching how happy, like the hug he gives to people, like how genuine he is. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. It's like people want a perfect world. How about you fucking create one around you? Yeah. Stop looking past all the bullshit and just create this like utopia in your life. Yeah. It starts with you first. No one can make your happiness, not your significant other, not your kids, your family. Like that's internally on you. Yeah. And once you understand that, it's your duty in life to give those vibrations back out. I mean, we were all put on this world to give to the next generation in any way we possibly can. Mm-hmm. It's like life is a miracle. Like we're supposed to be, it's a massive gift. Like repay that fucking gift. Like what are you doing, you guys? Like help someone out. Quit being a bastard over this and that. And real change happens. So like that's like the Watchers brand. It's what we do. And and it's fun. And it's open doors like here. Like speaking on your stage was the most fun I've fucking had. And I'm so excited. Like Kat does our events. She was, and I saw Casey this weekend. They're like, oh, we're going to check out the venue. I'm like, I can't wait. Yes. Period. I can't wait. There. I would love to. Like it was amazing. Like I said, your crowd are the people I like. Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to find is the people that remind us of us, Well, you have a gift for it, man. I mean, needless to say, all the listeners know it now, but when we were on that stage, like I said, I didn't know anything about you until we sat down next to each other and you were on this panel. And the moment you started speaking, I was like, gosh, man, there's something really unique. And I've done 100 and I don't remember how many, 70 podcasts. You have a gift for it. So just know that your goal of connecting with people and building people up is very in line with one of your natural talents. You know what I mean?
Appreciate
And
that.
That's great news.
Especially coming from you. That's a huge compliment.
It's very true.
Now I got 2 weeks coming from drama. See, I was just going to be high this week
There
on
you
drama.
go.
Now I got 2 weeks.
Gotcha till
Listen, if you
September.
guys are in Los Angeles area, you got to find drama. He's got this new drug. It's called drama. Just be around him and you will be hooked. I'm telling you, you know,
love it.
and go share drama with other people. It's the drug we all need. You know what I'm saying?
Share.
Exactly.
Okay, here's my last two big enders that I ask everyone. If you could hop in a time machine right now and go to any point in your life and tell yourself anything, where would you go and what would you say?
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's just a little question. You know,
Just
not a big
little
thinker.
one. You know, I think I would go back. You know, I actually don't think I think I'd go back about 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
And it'd be right when I started making money, and I would remind myself that my actions have repercussions on other people's lives solely by just me being me.
Yep.
And to fail forward and be more open. In the beginning, like I would never share my challenges, you know, and I think I gave this idea of that it was all so easy. Yeah. And I know people probably failed by just being like, oh, if he can just do it this easy, it is.
Yeah.
I would go back and just be like, just be real always. Yeah. Don't try to put something up because someone thinks it's going to be better. No matter what you say in life, there's going to be reactions. Yeah. If you stay to your truth, you'll never regret them. Yep. It's when you try to mold yourself to something different and you say you impact someone's life because you're just trying to be better. You're trying to be like more, you know, proper. Yeah. And it fucks someone up. You actually are responsible for that, the way I look at it, because you weren't your true self. And someone who needed you to be there for them didn't get reality. Yeah,
that's big. That's a really good one.
That was a huge fucking question. Like, I'm going to go back and think of that 8 times and call you like, no, bro. Let me tell you this.
Can you record this? Can you record that? Hold on 1 second. Okay, and then here's another big one. You are like sort of like a doctor for the whole planet. And you can prescribe anything to everyone on Earth for 30 days. And they all have to do it.
Oh, yes.
What do you tell everyone to do?
Oh my God! Put $500. You have 30 days to put $500 in a Vanguard account, not for you, but for your kids' kids. Yep. I always make this statement of we stop forgetting how wealth and how goodness is built, and it's all by one small act. Listen, wealth is time plus money. Yep. If I could actually go back to when every person was about to have a kid, I would challenge them this. In fact, I sometimes want to do this, like all new mothers. If they could do it, I'd match it with $5,000. Yeah. Like if you can just put $500 away in a Vanguard account when your child is born, I mean, like, literally, you're stopping world hunger in not a huge amount of time. Well, look, United States, and then we go to the next, because $500 compound interest by the time someone's an adult for their next generation is an obscene amount of money. Yeah. Like, there's all these, because just like you said, like, people do a 30-day challenge on the 31st day. They're like, fuck it, I'm Tom Jones again. I'm going back to fuck it up. I want someone to do something for 30 days they no longer have control of. They're locked out of that shit.
Yeah, that's good.
You got 30 days to do it. You don't, we chop both your ankles off, and you got to live Stub Jones for the rest of your life. If you complete it, you know what I'm saying? Like, you've literally done one, like, one move that literally you get no benefit from other than just going, I did that.
Yep.
You would change so much. Yep. Because, you know, guys like us, and, you know, like, I try to intermingle myself in rough shit all the time because I've become jaded. Sometimes we forgot what it hurts like. You know what I'm saying? And I think that, like, it's got to be a lot tougher in that arena. Yep. So, like, if I could, anybody listen, man, you don't need to be rich to start getting on the right foot. Like, people think you need 10 grand. Like, first off, like, if someone just gives you 10 grand, you ain't rich. You have the same mindset you did at $1,000 at 10 grand. You're going to blow it the same way on new Jordans and some dumb shit. You know, like, you have to enable people to see the power of what can happen when they do the right things. Yeah. We're in a world of tangibility. Like, if you don't see results today, you're like, F this. And it's killing us all. Yeah. Like, if people could just make these small little things, and what's $500? Like, listen, you can go to the worst shit in the fucking US and you want to find $500. They'll find it. You know what I'm saying? Like, stop doing a shitty habit for a month. And this goes for everyone. Even if you're doing okay, like, put money away. Like, be smart, because the life isn't about income, but last time I checked, your fucking mortgage didn't get paid with a hug. Yeah. And I want people to be more of a clear mind, so I find all of the variables that will help being there. And unfortunately, having the wherewithal to survive in this world is huge. Yeah. Currency is a big driver of that. So 30 days of financial responsibility for people, watch what happens. Yeah. Like, they have to do it. can we do this? Is this the drama? Can we get this actually to happen?
Yeah, we can create a challenge.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I'm all about it. I'll put some money behind it. You
we
tell
can
me.
create a challenge here.
I'm
gonna
down.
work on that.
I am down.
Yeah.
Consider me in. You tell me the dollar amount, I'll put it. I always put my money where my mouth is. Like, I love it. Fuck, you name it. Like, I love watching people do this. In fact, when I hold events, I do this to people all the time. Like, I catch them. I like to have like 10 grand and hundreds in my pocket because people love to see the cash, and I just give it to everybody in the crowd. I'll like ask them to do like real crazy things, like crawl across the ground on your knees. I'm like, you have just proven that it means nothing to be humiliated. Like, who gives a shit? Are you broken? Are you sick? Are you dying? Nope, you got $10,000 now.
Yeah.
Holy shit, you did something you didn't want to do to get to a place where you wanted to be. That's life. Welcome to the real world.
Yeah.
I'm down. Let's challenge some
Okay,
people.
let's figure that out. Chase, listen, man, I thank you so much.
Thank you.
This was great. I'm glad we circled back and made this happen. I'm glad I came into this like without poking around because it let me truly be like I was really in this.
Appreciate that.
So I appreciate it. Thanks for sharing. And like I said, man, you have a true gift that matches success, that matches being through a lot of shit. You got to keep putting that thing to work.
Appreciate that.
You're changing lives.
I said you got me on a 2-week high, so I'm curious
There we go, man. Hit me up end of next week if you need some like half a week of juice.
I
You know
will.
what mean?
We need that. We need that. We need our lunch with the team. Susie, remember, she's going to pay for lunch.
Yeah,
that was
you're right.
that was from the stage. We got to have that happen. But
Let's do it. All right, brother. Thank you so much.
absolutely, thank you for having me so much. It was awesome.
There it is.
Guys, if you like that and you want to see more like it, as well as vlogs, other web series, and all the random stuff that I'm doing here on YouTube, don't forget to click that subscribe button. You won't regret it. I promise.